Hello everybody, I'm Silly. This will be the one-shot entitled You'll Never Fly Through Falling, Let Me Help You Glide, by Red Lemonade and Smailstorm on AO3. Summary. Hawks and Izuku are out on a seemingly normal patrol, but then a building drops. Damn. Izuku stood, perched on the edge of the rooftop, his emerald eyes focused, scanning the city's streets below with an intensity only a hero of his caliber could manage. His wings, folded snugly at his back, twitched occasionally in the breeze, catching the wind and rustling softly, their feathered edges gleaming under the faint glow of the street lights. The world spread out beneath him, vibrant and bustling, yet distant. To him it all felt almost serene from this high vantage point. His heightened senses, a gift from his wings, picked up on every small detail below. Flickers of movements, whispers of voices, the rhythmic heartbeat of the city. His vision, sharper than any human's, allowed him to track the flow of people and traffic with ease. Even from this height, nothing escaped his notice. But then the wind shifted. A brief disturbance behind him caused the air to still, and Izuku tensed instinctively, muscles coiled like springs, ready to leap into action. However, before his mind could conjure any worst-case scenarios, a familiar voice rang out, warm and full of joy. Deku! Izuku sighed, the tension flooding out of his body as large crimson wings came into view, fluttering lazily as Hawks, with his usual easy grace, touched down on the rooftop beside him. Hawks folded his wings behind him as he sauntered over, perching casually on the railing with a grin. Izuku could not help but smile as Hawks flicked his calm off with a mischievous glint in his eye, waiting for Izuku to do the same. It was a routine of sorts between them, an unspoken agreement to take a break from the constant chatter of hero work whenever they crossed paths. Hey Hawks, Izuku greeted, his own calm muting with a soft click. Hawks shifted his position, sitting on the edge of the building, letting his legs swing freely over the side. His red feathers ruffled in the wind, but the nonchalant grin he wore spoke of complete ease. You would not believe the day I've had, he begun, voice light and teasing. I had to deal with this guy whose quirk, get this, literally makes everything smell like gasoline. No big deal, right? Except he thought it was hilarious to just walk into random stores and stink up the place. I spent the better part of my shift chasing him down. Hawks laughed, throwing his head back in exaggerated exasperation. Izuku chuckled along with him, his own wings twitching at the memory of similarly bizarre quirk encounters. He listened as Hawks animatedly described his patrol, the Red Wings hero's hands flying through the air to emphasize his points, his entire body seemingly incapable of standing still. And then, Hawks continued, his grin widening as he leaned closer to Izuku. This guy tries to make a run for it by jumping into a fountain. You can guess how that turned out. Izuku bit back a laugh, eyes crinkling with amusement. Oh no. Oh yes, Hawks said, his voice dripping with dramatic flair. It was a disaster. Water and gasoline? Yeah, I reeked for hours. You should have seen it coming, Izuku teased, a soft smile on his face. The wind blew through his hair, sending his green curls tumbling messily across his forehead. Hawks leaned back on his hands, his eyes glittering with amusement. And how was your patrol, Mr. Straight-A hero? Izuku's smile brightened at the question. He sat up straighter, his wings unfolding slightly in excitement. It was pretty interesting. I saw this quirk today. It was amazing. The person had horns that were partially made of water. I think it was some form of liquid manipulation, but the structure was solid. It was incredible to watch, especially when... Izuku trailed off, his words interrupted by Hawks' hand ruffling through his messy curls, mushing them up even more. You and quirks, Hawks said, shaking his head fondly. Never changed, Deku. Izuku puffed his cheeks in mock indignation, batting Hawks' hand away, though the grin on his face betrayed his annoyance. His wings fluttered slightly behind him, a reflex reaction to the light-hearted moment. But before Izuku could retaliate with more words, Hawk suddenly straightened up, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Race you?" Izuku blinked. "Race me to what?" Hawk's grin widened. "To KFC, of course." And then, without waiting for a reply, the winged hero leaped from the building's edge, his wings snapping open to catch the wind as he shot forward. "Last one there pays for lunch," Hawks called out, his voice carrying back to Izuku as he soared ahead. Izuku stared after him for a split second before the words sank in. "Oh, you!" He cursed under his breath, but the smile that broke across his face was undeniable. His wings flared out, hardening for a moment before softening again as he launched himself from the rooftop. He dove into the city below, the wind rushing past him as he pushed to catch up with Hawks. The two of them weaved effortlessly through the skyscrapers, dodging buildings and darting around corners. The race was fast-paced, exhilarating. Izuku kept his focus, eyes narrowing in concentration as he tried to close the gap between them. But Hawks was a seasoned flyer, his wings beating with the fluidity of years of experience. They were nearing the KFC, the finish line in sight, when the city was rocked by a violent explosion. The force of it sent shockwaves through the air, and both heroes' expressions shifted instantly. Hawks peered off into the sky, scanning the source of the blast from above, while Izuku dived down towards the ground, his body instinctively moving into action. His calm clicked back on as he assessed the situation, eyes sharp and focused. His mask, equipped with an air filtration device, snapped into place as he neared the collapsing building, the chaos unfolding before him like a scene from a nightmare. Izuku didn't hesitate. He hardened his wings again, knowing he wouldn't be able to fly, but that didn't matter now. The only thing that mattered was getting inside. The building groaned ominously, debris crashing down around him, but Izuku pressed forward, dodging the falling rubble as he listened intently for the sounds of people trapped inside. His wings, now like shields, deflected debris as he moved deeper into the collapsing structure. He found civilians one by one, guiding them to safety, using his wings to push aside the wreckage or protect them from falling debris. Each person he saved made the weight on his shoulders feel just a little lighter, but the building wasn't going to hold much longer. In the back of his mind, he knew time was running out. The building groaned again, louder this time. He raced forward, his heart pounding, when he heard a faint voice, soft, pleading. He followed the sound, pushing through the crumbling remains of the building until he found them. A mother, huddled in the corner, her young son cradled in her arms. Her leg was trapped beneath a heavy beam, her face twisted in pain and fear. Without thinking, Izuku sprinted forward, his wings snapping up around the three of them just as the building gave way. The concrete crashed down onto his wings, the force of it sending a sharp, blinding pain up his back. But he held firm. His entire body tensed as he braced against the weight, his wings forming a protective cocoon over the mother and her son. The world around him was plunged into darkness, the sounds of the collapse muffled by the shield of feathers around them. Izuku's breath came in ragged pants, his muscles burning from the strain, but he stayed still, holding on with everything he had. For what felt like an eternity, the three of them remained there, protected by his wings as the building crumbled around them. Minutes passed, though it felt much longer. Finally, his calm crackled to life, Hawks' voice breaking through. "Deku, you good in there? It's all clear now, you can move." Izuku exhaled shakily, slowly lifting his wings to give them all more room. The mother and her son were still clutching each other tightly, but they were safe. He carefully helped the woman to her feet, wincing at the weight of the rubble he had held off. She couldn't walk, so Izuku scooped her up in his arms, the young boy clinging onto her as he carried them both outside to safety. The moment he stopped into the open air, Hawks was there, his wings flaring wide as he rushed towards Izuku, his face pale with worry. "You got a building dropped on you, Deku," he practically shouted, his voice thick with concern as he wrapped his arms around Izuku, pulling him into a tight hug. Izuku stiffened in surprise before relaxing into the embrace, a soft laugh bubbling out of him. "I'm fine," he said, though his voice was softer, his exhaustion finally catching up with him. "Really? Like hell you are," Hawks huffed, still not letting go. His grip tightened, his chin resting atop Izuku's head as he murmured, "I'm never letting you out of my sight again." Izuku chuckled, his own wings fluttering weakly at the declaration. "You sound like my mom." Hawks grumbled something incoherent before ruffling Izuku's hair again, pulling him into another hug. Alright everybody, that concludes the one-shot entitled, "You'll Never Fly Through Falling. Let Me Help You Glide." Please make sure to check out the Discord if you haven't already, if you would like to get updates easier, get connected with people within the fanfiction community, make requests for a podfic, and more. The link to the server will be in the description. Now I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening.